So if you're planning on doing a stop motion animation, you can do most of it in Illustrator by just rotating and moving things around. So I'm just going to do a quick demo on here. This I copied offline. I looked up a walking cycle. So you can use kind of these things as references to see like how to place your character if they're going to be like walking in the scene. My character is facing forward, so he would be walking forward or backward in the scene if I have him walk. Um, and I just have to, this is showing you like each step. Okay. So the first one, let's go sideways. If one leg is forward, like your right leg is forward, usually your right arm would be backward and it's like opposites. So if your back left leg is backwards, then your left arm would be forward. And then there's kind of like an in between where the foot's down. So you can kind of mimic these positions with each scene. So when you're doing stop motion, you have to think about where you put your character. You want to move him forward with each one, and then you want to rearrange him with each one. You also want to think about the background and how you'll do that. So you're essentially creating little frames, little increments by little increments of animation. So if I have my layers open here, for the first one, let's say, I could think about how I want these to move. So if I want everything in the sky to move, I could just move them incrementally. If I move them a lot, it's going to jump. It's going to be jumpy. So just like a little bit. And you can kind of play with this. I can go to my sky, my clouds. Maybe I have my clouds move in an opposite direction. So you just kind of move things around little by little. I kind of want this river to like go bigger, smaller, look like it's flowing. So I could, for each one of these, just kind of move the river. So when I play it back and forth, it might look like this, like kind of flowy. So just move things, move elements. Maybe I start this a little bigger. And then as it goes on for each one, I could make it go a little longer, or a little larger. So move your background just a little. And then you're going to go in and you're going to move your character. So with your character, it's a little more complicated. So if I'm making him walk, I can kind of like use this as a reference and align him to that. But just for quick demo purposes, I want to show you, you might need to like link or group things together. Like his wrist and forearm, I drew them separately. So if I hold shift, I can grab them both and control G. And then I want to kind of rotate at the joints. So if you rotate up here, it's not going to rotate correctly at the joints. So when you want to rotate something in a specific area, you can go to the rotation tool. So these both were grouped together and selected. I can move this blue rotation point, anchor point, to the joint area. Now when I rotate it a little, it rotates from there. So I want to actually do this with all my joints. So maybe up here as well with this arm, let's say, that would move differently. So I'm just going to go. It's going to take a little time, but then you want to move these rotation points. Oops, control Z if you make a mistake. Oh, it's really finicky. You got to be right over the blue point. Move that up there. And actually, I'm going to group it with this. I might have had to do that before. Undo. Oh, I undid a little too much. Redo. And then I'm going to grab this, shift, and group that all together. But if I won't group it all together, if I want his forearm to move separately from his arm. So here it just makes one anchor point that I can move, and then I can rotate. Oops, I can rotate this just a little. So I'm just moving little by little. His head, same thing. Oops, rotate, move that anchor point here, and then I can kind of tilt his head all together. So, and then if I were moving him, if he was walking, for the first one, I might be here. And then the second one, oops, I kind of have to go in and kind of lock these down. The second one, he might be like a little smaller if he's walking forward, and he would be like a little bit forward. So I have to kind of play with scale, play with sizing. So for the first one, I'm just going to click, get that out of the way, save it, and call it animation 1. I'm saving these all as Illustrator files every time I move them. So animate 1, and then I'm going to go nudge everything again, just a little bit more, and then animate 2, nudge everything again, animate 3.